Right, David, thanks for joining us. So lots has been happening over the last couple of weeks. Let's start with a reflection on last season though. Obviously deeply disappointing end to the season in the playoffs, and it leaves us with a big challenge coming our way next season.
Yeah, it certainly does, Stephen. I think we can't get away from the fact last season was an absolute disaster for us. Probably like most fans, we've looked at it, lots of different emotions, anger, frustration, huge disappointment, upset. You rack your brains about what could we have done differently, what should we do better going forward, and I think it was a really difficult period of inflection for us. And I think what we've got to accept though is we finished the season as the 21st best team in Scotland, which is not where we want to be, and it's not good enough. We deserve to be in League One, sadly. We weren't good enough over the course of the season, but you spend a couple of days feeling sorry for yourself about it, but then you've got to get back up and fight, because we all got to turn it around and make sure that we start winning football matches and get the place going again.
So obviously there was a period of reflection after the relegation, and that resulted in a change of manager, and James McPake has now taken up that role.
Yes, he has. Obviously when it became clear to us that we need to make the change in the manager's role, myself and Thomas, we got together and put together a clear brief of what we thought the next Dunfermline athletic manager should look like, and we had a clear profile that came out of that. James and his profile was very much, what we were looking for, so we spoke to a few candidates that matched that criteria. Very quickly it became apparent to us that James was a good fit for us. We went to meet him. What was meant to be a 1 hour conversation ended up being a 4 hour conversation. Very quickly it became apparent that our ambition for the football club was very similar to James's ambitions as a manager, and also we spoke at real length about his experiences and his times that he's played and managed here, and what enthusiasm he had for Dunfermline Athletic. And I think that's a great starting point, and he helps us in that reset for the club in League One.
Yeah, having spoken to him this week, it's clear that he has a burning ambition to do well here.
Yeah, he does, and I think that burning ambition is probably fueled by multiple things. Firstly, it's obviously he felt hard done by in his last role, the way it ended at Dundee, but that side of it's in the past. What you see is a young manager who's fiercely ambitious to succeed, and that matches the ambition that we've got for the football club as well, and hopefully together from this moment we can really kick on. And short term, that's about setting ourselves objectives like winning football matches, and making sure that we've got the right structures and the right frameworks in place behind the scenes to give it the best opportunity to succeed.
So that's the football side of stuff. In terms of off the pitch, there's lots of changes as well at boardroom level.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously Ross was due to stand down, and I've obviously taken over that position. Ross put in a phenomenal effort to the football club and goes with our best wishes, and I'm sure we'll see him back supporting the club in the near future, just as a supporter. Kip as well, long-standing director at the football club, invested a huge amount of time and effort into the place, and was instrumental in the forming of FEFA and now bringing back into house our own academy. Again, great friend of the football club that I'm sure will remain here on match days, coming to the matches. Be crazy not to talk about Jim Leishman. Jim might be coming off the board, but ultimately won't change a huge amount for Jim. He'll still be a popular face here on a match day, and he's going to work with me on a couple of different initiatives, especially around how we engage with our supporters going forward.
And Thomas Meggle is going to take a more hands-on approach on the footballing side of things.
Yeah, Thomas obviously been on the board now for a couple of seasons, and it was involved in the footballing side of it. But if you look at the background of Thomas, fantastic career as a player, as a coach, and also as a sporting director in the Bundesliga. It'd be crazy not to tap into that experiences that we've got and the know-how, and bringing a few different things to how we do things in Scotland.
And finally, obviously, Ross is no longer chairman, which means you are the chairman. You must be pinching yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I am. It's obviously a great honour to be CEO and chairman of the football club that I've supported since childhood. I think that's something that I'm keen to be as a successful chairman, not a chairman of a League One club, but obviously where we are right now, we've got to work really hard behind the scenes to to put into place the right frameworks and the right plans to ensure that we're successful going forward. But you know, bursting with pride at that.
Let's move on to next season then. It's obviously well underway with the appointment of James McPake. I'm guessing he'll have a good level of budget, he'll assured that. And what are the expectations for the season ahead?
Yeah, I think James probably spoke about it, but we're really laser focused on our short-term objectives, which ultimately will lead us into the right outcomes long-term for the club. We're a club that unfortunately has been losing too many football matches for the last 2 seasons. So short-term, we've got to stop that, and we've got to start winning more games on a frequent basis. We've got to hit ourselves short-term points targets, and if we keep doing that, ultimately we'll get to the outcomes that we want out of it. You know, that doesn't mean that we're not ambitious. Of course it doesn't. You know, the ambitions for the football club haven't changed despite the relegation, but we are where we are, right? So we've got to make sure that we are up for the battle every single week against well-hardened and drilled League One teams. So we've got to make sure that we're up for the fight, that we're really well prepared tactically, technically, mentally, physically, to ensure that we start winning more football matches. James is obviously going to have one of the biggest budgets within League One, but of course there's multiple objectives for what we want. We're investing in our academy, so how we integrate the academy players, just like we have with Lewis McCann, Matty Todd and Paul Allen, will remain important for us. How we develop and make football players better across the squad, again, big focus on that with James. So we've got, you know, a lot of exciting objectives that we need to achieve, and ultimately we hope longer term that leads us to the outcomes that we want.
Let's move on to season tickets then. Obviously that will be tied into the budget. It's always a vital source of income for the club. Any changes to that over the coming weeks? Yeah, sure. We're going to look to finalise our season ticket offering for next season over the next week, and we'll communicate in more detail with our supporters on that. You know, I just want to make sure supporters don't know that we don't take for granted the support that they give us. Season ticket holders that are here through thick and thin is of huge importance. You know, ticket and income, you know, aside from just the support, ticket and income is our biggest revenue stream by far, so it's extremely important for us, and we have to balance what we feel is fair with, you know, the need for that income to allow us to have a really competitive budget at this division. And obviously, David, you have a commercial background, and I'm sure you'll have come in here and been trying to grow other revenue streams as well. Yeah, 100%. I think between myself and a couple of other board members, we've sort of identified 10 to 12 initiatives that either short, medium or long term are commercial growth opportunities. Really important part for the football club, and what was attractive to the investment that we've had is about building a sustainable football club. Yeah, you know, we're not a business that we're trying to generate huge profits. At the end of the day, any penny that is made goes back into the club and ultimately goes back in to either what we can do for supporters or into the playing squad budget. So, you know, it's not a normal business in that respect, but growing our income is really, really important for the long-term health of the club. We've already spoken about Thomas, the other German investors as well. What is the sort of overview of that relationship at the moment? Yeah, I would say that obviously, just like all of us as shareholders and as directors of the football club, they share a disappointment of where we are. There's a degree of philosophical outlook on that. There's an acceptance where we are, and now we've just got to go and make sure that we reset, we do the things in the way that we want to do it, and we start to improve again. I think it's important for me that we don't think of it as you know, the Scottish group and the German group. Ultimately we're one and the same. You know, we may have investment from guys that are based in Germany, but they're directors of the club. They care deeply about the football club now, and are fully integrated in how we operate and how we manage the club on a day-to-day basis. Well, thanks very much for your time, David, but you got a final message for the supporters who are watching this? Yes, Stephen, I think I would just like to say, obviously we know it's been a really, really challenging few months, and we're all been very disappointed with relegation, but we now need to, you know, hit that reset button, and Dunfermline's at its strongest when we're all pulling in the one direction. I know the supporters want to see a successful team on the pitch. Winning helps, doesn't it? And I really feel we all just need to come together and push forward now, and let's see what we can do this season. All the best, David. Cheers. Thank you. Cheers.